Hello, Richard.
Cars. No.
Cars. No, you got the wrong thing. Oh, man.
Black and gold banter.
It is black and gold banter.
I'm not allowed to say Steelers, so that's okay. Black and gold.
But you just did, but that's okay. So where are you in all of this? What have you learned over the off week? Anything?
I start to hear things that I don't like. The league's new minimum. Everybody, it's a trend, low scoring. I start hearing that, and then as soon as the first time I heard it, and to be honest with you, I actually thought it last week when I started to watch the scores, and I thought,
right,
interesting. There's some really low scores here, but then that's an anomaly, I think. But then I started to hear that as almost as an excuse for us, and then I thought, well, I know what's not going to happen on this break. And I don't know what is going to happen, which is nothing. I do know nothing is going to happen. But I saw Mike Tomlin yesterday. Somebody asked him about the offensive performance, and Mike first said, we've been talking about this for how long? And to me, that's like, okay, he's aware, but strategically, you can't go in really right now. That choice would have been made, if that was the case, would have been made before the season started. Right now, I think it's just going to be a distraction. But anyway.
Well, yeah, aware is different than having a resolution to fix things. But let's talk about your first point. Would you rather see a league full of 17-13 games or 42 to 38 games?
No, I want to see the scoring. I want to see the excitement. I want to see skill players show their skill. I want to, I don't know. I'm not. How about you? What would you rather see?
I'd rather kind of see it go up and down, because here's the thing. Then I think when you do at the end of a game, it puts the value in a defensive stop at the end of the game, like one defensive play that you can make, because it does. You can make one defensive play and change the whole football game.
Well, it does send it back. So I really believe strongly in the focus on defense. I really do. Offense, you talk about running backs, and we said this last week. Running backs that don't have the value, running backs that by committee, and I just prove all that wrong by pointing to Christian McCaffrey, and so of course he's hurt this week.
Yeah,
but that there's really no substitute. It's balance. No matter what it is, it's balance, and one can't carry the other forever.
Well, I agree with that, and then it gets to younger players playing too, in balance and all that. Because there's a school of thinking, because there's this big debate right now. And this is probably the biggest debate outside of Matt Canada with the Steelers, with Broderick Jones and Joey Porter. Now, yes. Mike Tomlin actually has played rookies in the past, and Kendrick Green comes to mind, Shamarko Thomas comes to mind, Sean Davis comes to mind, as people who got put in there too early and then fizzled. Yeah. Is Mike Tomlin being careful and not overexerting these guys, or is he just flat out making a mistake by not playing his best players?
Neither. I don't think it's either of those things. I think that Mike Tomlin will know when Joey Porter is ready to assume a starting role. I think that he doesn't want to bring him too quickly, because that could create and put him in a position where he's not at his best, and that could start to play with somebody's head. I think that Mike Tomlin it's like a Kentucky Derby race, Colin.
Okay.
You have a great horse, and if you put the wrong jockey on that horse, he's not going to perform. But if you put the right jockey on that horse and you bring him along, he'll be at his best. And I think Mike is doing that, and for both of those positions, because you see some really glaring errors on Jones. And you see some on Joey Porter. He intercepted a ball last week, and that's great. But they're shining moments, and I think that Mike is. I think he knows what the hell he's doing. And so,
but I do think we're in a time in NFL history more than ever that rookies are thrown into it and asked to play right away. And I just think that out of the bye week, they should absolutely play. Like if not now, then why can't they get in there? Honestly, why did you draft and make moves to get Broderick Jones if he can't get right in there and play?
I mean, you're talking about maybe the difference of 4 more games, 3 more games. Let him come in. Hopefully, if Dan Moore, does play, I would let him start. I would let Dan Moore start, and I'd build that to Broderick Jones, and I'd build it for Joey Porter Jr. Make those guys work as hard as they need to work. Man, I'd just push them, and I'd try to squeeze the best out of everybody. And I don't think Mike's doing it wrong. I mean, if Patrick Peterson screws up or somebody else screws up on defense, then we'll say, why isn't Joey Porter in there? I don't know. But that left tackle position, pretty important.
Oh, in some ways, it might be the most important position on the football field. And that's why those guys that are veterans get paid so much money to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, it's gigantic. It is gigantic. They're going to Los Angeles, and they're flying out there, and they have to contend with Aaron Donald and all that kind of stuff. And they have a whole long time to prepare for this. I actually think the Steelers are going to win this football game.
I'll tell you what, if they don't, and we can record this back next week, Nacua, he scares me.
Yeah?
Is it Tua Nacua?
The receiver.
Yes.
Yes, him and, well, I mean, they have 2 receivers.
Well, yeah, but Nacua really, because I think, we're aware of him, but he really is kind of a surprise, and he's playing really well. I've watched him probably 2 or 3 games now. He is a beast. But then what that does is if they focus on him, then you're right. They have, what's his name? And Mike Tomlin had said once before, he's never seen anybody work as hard as he does. So
yeah, I mean, they're in big trouble right now with Nacua and Cooper Kupp. And Nacua was a guy that was a BYU guy that a lot of people were like, oh, I wonder how good he is. Did he just play in an offense? How could he be? How good could he be in the NFL? And he ends up being. But this is exactly why, though, get back to the point where I was at. If not now for Joey Porter against guys like this, then when? Joey Porter's pretty much a first-round draft pick by where they drafted him and the grade that they had on him. I get Patrick Peterson, and I understand that Patrick Peterson's a veteran. I just think right now Joey Porter might be a better football player than Patrick Peterson.
I'm not going to dispute that. But what we don't know, I mean, I have some great people that sometimes maybe they're not ready to take the next step, but only the person that works with them every day can know that. And maybe Joey's not ready to do that. Maybe he is. But I have a feeling, just a feeling. I have a feeling you're going to see him start this week.
Okay. All right. Maybe you'll see him and Patrick Peterson start and Levi Wallace go to the bench.
Levi Wallace, to me, is the person that needs to sit. He's the weakest link, in my opinion.
Could be. Have we made any headway with this running back situation? Or you're still holding out for this, 26 carry, 157-yard game from 22, aren't you? You really think that this could happen?
I don't know. There's something about his style that just doesn't work for me. I don't know. He's a monster. He's got every physical attribute in the world. He's a beast. I don't know. I don't know if it's our play selection. It seems like every time he touches the ball, it's jammed up. They know he's coming. And I don't know. I watch these other guys on these other teams. It seems like almost every team has one of those guys. When he hits the line is when he really starts to churn, and he moves the ball forward. It's the yards after contact that they pick up that just amaze me. You look at Christian McCaffrey. I mean, look
at Derrick Henry. I watched Derrick Henry this past week. He was running away from people after he ran over them.
And that's what I'm looking for from 22. And that's another thing I'll say. I don't think you're going to see a lot. If 22 starts, I don't think it's going to be long before Mike makes a change.
before Jaylen Warren goes in there.
Yeah,
I just and this is what I've really thought about during the off week. Are we waiting for something to happen with Najee and the whole fan base is like, all right, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's going to get there? Or is it just never going to happen? At some point, you reach a time where you just say, what our wishes are never going to happen.
Well, what is it, year 3?
Yeah.
It's time. It's time. Last year we blamed the offensive line, but then we release a guy who goes to another team, and they're talking about him as the best offensive lineman in the league now, right? So, I mean, what's the problem here? Who's our offensive line coach? Do you know?
Yeah, it was the guy, Pat. I was the guy with the coach of New York, Pat Meyer. Pat Meyer.
Okay, I don't know him, but I just wonder, was he there last year too?
Yeah, and at the end of the year, he was widely lauded, Richard, for the way that he coached the football team down the stretch in the last 7 or 8 games. And they thought he showed them vast improvement. And he's also now entrusted to bring Broderick Jones along, So
I don't
there's
know
also that.
About him to have an opinion. I mean, I just look at the result, and yeah, I mean, the last 7 games of the year last year we won 5 out of 7 or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure what to expect from this team.
I don't know either. I'm sort of lost. I do think they're going to win. They're going to find a way to win in Los Angeles. Here's why. It's going to be one of those games. The 9 million Steeler fans there, they have a way, generally, Mike Tomlin's teams do, of rising to the big moment whenever it is a premier game or a game with a national audience, or at least all the bright lights and the glimmer and things like that. And they'll end up getting a rock fight kind of game, and they'll win 17-16 with a walk-off field goal or something. They have a weird way of doing that, but it always just gets us to 9-8, and that's what's going to happen.
I'm not sure what this football team will show you. I mean, honestly, it really has the potential because of the players, the individual players. We have some pretty strong players. I don't think they're being used properly, and I think if they were, you'd be better than 9-8.
I agree with you. And the other biggest story that more people need to talk about it, because we're going to see it put into practice, is they need to have an individual talk with George Pickens and say to him and tell him, you're still our number 1 guy, even with Deontay Johnson coming back. If they don't do that, it's a grave mistake for this offense, a gigantic mistake. He needs to stay at the level where he's been built up, because once George Pickens starts to dive, I'm telling you, he's going to go in the tank. He needs to be – there are certain people who are just divas, and he needs to be treated like one if he's going to continue to perform like that. It's just the way of the world now.
Well, I agree with that, but I watched Mike's press conference yesterday. Did you see it?
Mm-hmm.
And they asked him what Deontay brought to the table and what the one distinguishing factor was, and he said the way he runs routes, right? And then he said, somebody said, well, what about getting Kenny started to be as good as he is in the end, to be as good as he is in the beginning? Would having Deontay influence that in a positive way? And he said, of course it will, because of the way he executes his route running. But I still go back to, he didn't score a freaking touchdown last year.
And he ran backwards when he caught the football. At some point we need to draw that chart and that graph and just show that George Pickens may have passed him up and lean into that.
I don't know about, but so George Pickens, the way he runs routes, maybe that's contributing to some of Kenny's struggles. Maybe he doesn't execute the route running. To be honest with you, I don't analyze the way they run routes. Just the TV coverage alone, it doesn't point that out to me. But everybody keeps saying Deontay is a great route runner, but is he a great catcher of the ball? Is he a great scorer? I mean, we come back to Deontay, now all of a sudden he's going to start dropping balls again. I mean, then
let me ask you this. Do you have to analyze and do you have to analyze, and you have to be a deep sort of football schematic guy to come to the conclusion as to how great of a route runner someone has to be when you watch the winning touchdown from the game against Baltimore when he said to George Pickens, just go beat somebody and go catch the football. Sometimes we get so caught up in the minutia that we miss just the surface level thing, which just is like, be better than the other guy.
Yeah. I mean,
and
Kenny called that. That was an audible he called, right?
Right.
Yeah. He had Pickens. They had Pickens on a one-on-one.
Right. And they said, just go be better than someone. Like, sometimes we muck it up instead of just keeping it simple.
You know, I don't know. I'm disappointed because I do think this team has so much potential. I really do. And, you know, if we come out in the second play, we run a jet sweep, I might fly to LA.
Or just turn the TV off.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it's like, you know, I'm addicted to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I love to watch the games, but it's so frustrating because I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I wish I could reach in and do it myself. But
I agree.
Yeah, but anyway, so I'm excited. I don't like Matt Stafford, and if he was so great, and I never understood that trade either, by the way. After a Super Bowl win, so I like they've got a running back that's is it Williams?
With the Rams?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do you Kieran Williams or whatever?
Yeah. And he's a Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they always have run back by committee, but he's going to miss games though.
Williams?
So
no, who's the one that backfilled him?
There's Myles Gaskin, there's Darrell Henderson.
Because
they signed a bunch of guys.
Yeah, I did watch some of the clips and the highlights of some of their
Ronnie Rivers is there.
Yeah, I like him. I like the way they run. They run hard. You know, so you've got that. You've got Aaron Donald. You know, there's some potential danger there, and I'm telling you, Nakua across the middle, game killer.
Complimenting with Cooper Kupp. I mean, come on,
game killer. Game killer.
Yeah,
Nakua is going to be the difference in that game if we lose.
It's a test for. I'm telling you, I think Joey Porter's going to go head up against them. And that's going to be very interesting.
Well, they're both rookies, aren't they?
Yep.
Rookie?
Yeah. So, what else? I sent you a picture you keep talking about, by the way.
Oh, Riley Herbst?
Yes, that's your guy. You know, I looked that up. Like, he's a race car driver. He's in the Xfinity Series.
Yes.
And he won. He got his first career win in Vegas, which is his hometown. And his family, like, owns Vegas. They own they pretty much are like the sheets of Vegas.
Yes.
But
yes, they are. It's called their gas station. They have a bunch of gas stations, I think 79. It's called Terrible Herbst, Herbst. And I said I know Riley's uncle Ed.
Uh-huh.
And Ed is Ed Jr. Ed Sr. started the company. And I said to Ed Jr., why it's so weird, Terrible Herbst. And he said, yeah, because when my dad went to Las Vegas first and started to open up all these places, he was referred to as terrible because he was lowering the prices of gas. And so,
what a terrible guy, huh?
So yeah, exactly. And they used it and they adopted it in their. You see their logo; it's hysterical.
But, yeah, it's like a cowboy guy with a hat on.
I do know very well his uncle Ed, and you know, I spent probably a month with him last year, and every Sunday we had to watch that freaking NASCAR. Not that I'm not a fan, but they are from Las Vegas, so it was a home field advantage for him. He won there. It was an exciting time. His family is overwhelmingly crazy happy. So and he's a nice kid.
Yeah, and there's this phenomenal picture where he's jumping on the hood of this or on the roof of this Mustang, and it's incredible. I'll put it out there again with this. I'll reply to this and put it out so the people see it. It's phenomenal when I put this out. It's phenomenal.
I mean, he's probably in the air 3 feet.
Yes.
I mean, it's unbelievable. It's just crazy. It looks like he's like rocket inspired.
Yeah, and he won
By
by
the way,
15 seconds, by the way, which is not easy to do on
wait, I
an
didn't know
oval
that.
track
15 seconds he won by?
because they went for real long without a caution. So he just kept gaining and gaining and gaining.
Wow, good for him.
Yeah, in Las Vegas with all his people. And then to cap the story, he delayed the flight back to North Carolina till the next day because he said, I can't go home today right after the race. I've got to stay in Las Vegas and have a night out. So that happened.
Good for him.
Yes.
Now, and how did your son feel? Was he just like,
he was excited because that's one of his guys. He's a big Ford guy. And everybody, the thing too about the respect was all the other drivers congratulated him in victory lane. And as he was doing his victory lap, they all kind of came over and saluted him because they knew how much it meant for him to win in Las Vegas, which was really cool to see.
That's really cool. I didn't see that.
Yeah. A bunch of guys came over. So that was super cool to see. So.
Yeah, that is really cool. So we'll post that picture. I'll get it up too.
Yeah, certainly.
So sweetenly.
So that's that.
Sweetenly. You don't even know what that is, do you?
Yeah, that's from not the Three Stooges.
Yeah, it's the Three Stooges.
Did you like the Three Stooges?
I love them. Sweetenly.
Yeah. Well, that was a time when simple humor made you laugh. Like we've gotten too complicated. Sometimes you can just do simple things and it'd make you laugh. Like, you know, I watch Charlie Chaplin movies and laugh.
I'm telling you. Don't get me started. I love comedy.
Yeah. Wait, which Stooge was your favorite? Real quick before we go.
Well, I like Curly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Curly, the original Curly.
Yeah. Do you laugh every time you see stuff like Who's on First? Do you like that stuff too? Like Abbott and Costello?
It's brilliant. Now, obviously, it's way before me and you, but it's brilliant.
I don't know about that.
You know what? Wow. You know, they say keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Wow. It's not that funny.
Were Abbott and Costello funnier than the Three Stooges?
Yes.
Where's Lucille Ball in all of this?
Dead.
I know, but was she funnier than them?
Not to me.
No, I think the Three Stooges were something else.
Yeah, they're pretty funny.
I could watch that. Anyway, second base.
No, he's on first.
Who's
on first? Third base. Chelsea and Hannah look at me like I'm crazy. They have no idea.
They don't know. They don't know.
But listen, I want to take this one opportunity also. You know, we do another one, another podcast called Cars, Stars, and Everything in Between. We did it Tuesday. We recorded it live Tuesday. It's now on our YouTube channel, I think, right? And you really, if you haven't seen it yet, please watch it and let everybody else know to watch it. Because here's what we're leading with. Completely obscure, out of the, like, how did this even come up? Who killed Kennedy?
Oh.
Who killed Kennedy was a big part of our show on Tuesday.
All right.
Gianni, do you know who Gianni Russo is?
I don't.
So you've seen The Godfather?
Yeah.
So The Godfather, Connie, the sister's husband, Carlo.
Okay.
That Michael has killed when he says,
right,
you have to answer for Santino. So we had him, Gianni Russo.
Oh, wow.
He claims some really big direct claims. I'm thinking maybe the CIA is going to want to go talk to him, or the FBI. And I'm telling you, if somebody sees this stuff, it's pretty crazy, the stuff he says, that he was actually part of it. It's insane.
Well, that's a tease if there ever was one. So go check it out on the Schultz Ford YouTube page.
No, it's not. It's more than a tease. It's the real deal. Wait to see
no, it's sending people there. That it's going to compel you to watch. That's for sure.
It really is. See, you're so smart. That's why I brought it
Not
up.
as smart as you. Second base.
Third base.
Bye.
Goodbye.